up, everybody, and welcome to another Pokemon investment series. Today we're going to be giving you something a lot more compact, a shorter video. So we're going to focus in on a single question. When is the right time for you to buy Pokemon product? And I think we can answer that really quickly and really easily, and it's a great takeaway for you to have, again, as a tool in your toolbox so that you can make informed decisions with your hard-earned money. Now, let's first start with Scarlett and Violet to answer this question. And as we always do, we're gonna look at data to help back up some of the things that I'm saying so that you can actually see the facts and, of course, use this as part of your decision process. So Scarlett and Violet was released at $144, and then within a month, so February, it then drops to $90, right? From there, we're moving up a little bit and hitting around 124 and then back down to 113. So what's happening here is we have the product hit the market, everybody opens it, we have inventory sitting at local stores and distribution, and they need to get rid of it. Now, once the demand has gone down, but inventory is still high, they need to lower the price. They want people to buy this product, and in order for you to buy it when there's not very much demand, you have to really lower the price. And so you're gonna see the lowest prices typically happen, with one exception that I'll get to in a minute, between 1 and 4 months after the original release date. So when a product first comes out, the best and the sweetest window to watch for is typically gonna be between that 1 and 4 month range. And just gotta kind of watch it and see what it does. Now you wanna see if you're below MSRP. And in the case of MSRP, which is the manufacturer suggested retail price, it's gonna be what you look at as your benchmark and anything below that. Now, when they hit the market, you know, sometimes the price already fluctuates on day one. That's kind of what happened here with Scarlett and Violet. But in general, that's a good mark for you to look at. So at 144 and we hit 90 a month later, we're talking about nearly 1/3 of the MSRP has already been then removed from your purchase price. And okay, fast forward, it goes up a little bit, but then it drops back down to 103. So these are the key moments to buy right now, as the example here with Scarlett and Violet. Now, the one exception that I mentioned with this is gonna be a reprint. So if you do have a reprint, and right now there's a lot of talk about the Lost Origin reprint, now not confirmed from the Pokemon Center directly, but definitely a lot of rumors and conversation from distribution and, of course, local game stores. So from that point of view, a reprint from an investment perspective, and let's remember, investment is decades, not days, not years, decades. So from an investment perspective, a reprint's a great thing because it brings down that price, hopefully getting back below MSRP, and it's a great time for you to pick up additional product, especially if you missed out on the first run. So I think those are your two key moments to buy. Now, don't get caught up too much in the, $5 here and $4 extra here, because at the end of the day, none of that matters. Because when we talk about decades, the $4 difference that you might have paid, or here in the case of this example, the $13 difference from $90 to $103, it doesn't matter 10 years later because the price is so exponential. You're gonna get massive returns regardless. And the same thing can be said really about, well, is this the right set to buy or not? Which we'll cover in a different video, and how to maybe see the trends of what happens within each series. We're gonna break that down in probably the next video this week or next week. And doesn't matter too much. Now, obviously, the better sets get better gains. We see that, for example, with Evolving Skies or with Flashfire, or depending on whichever set you're looking at within a given series. Of course, there'll be better gains in some, but if you're just looking for consistent gains, it doesn't really matter too much over time. Again, time is the key here. So let's take a look at just a few examples, and let's try to wrap this video up quickly so you can take this as, again, a tool in your tool bag to make informed decisions. So Sword and Shield base, it's our last example before we had Scarlett and Violet, is going to be sitting at 194% return. And that was released in 2020. So that's 3 years. 3 years, we have 194% return. Let's go back to Sun and Moon, released in 2017. And I'm comparing base sets. So I'm only gonna look at base sets as we go up, and we'll talk more about details in another video in terms of other sets, but I'll look at base sets primarily today. 129% and released in 2017. Now, it didn't have as much yet, but just watch as this continues to go forward. Let's look at XY. XY is now sitting at 1,111%. Now, take a note of what just happened here. We went from hundreds of percents to thousands of percents. Is it because XY is such an amazing set and that base set was so just awesome? Not really. When that set came out, and you can go back and look at videos of people talking about it, they were saying the same thing. It's not that great. It doesn't have that many great cards. It's kind of lackluster. And you see that a lot because anytime that we're looking at a closure of one series and you move into the next, you go from a really great ending to a really kind of boring beginning. And that's going to be part of the trend that we'll talk about later in the next video, but it always happens that way. But the point is going to be, it doesn't matter over time. Once you then talk about decades, this is about the point that we're talking about. A decade here is 2014, so roughly 9 years. Now we're talking about thousands of percentages. Let's go up just a few more. Let's look at black and white. Black and white is sitting at 2,323% return. And when I say this, I'm referring to original booster box MSRP price to current selling price, right, in June of 2023. So when you look at that, that's when you see massive gains. This was released in 2011, okay? So it starts to then be exponential as we go over time and we get past that 10-year mark. Then it really starts to ramp up very quickly. I don't have the data for Diamond and Pearl base set. I'm still trying to collect everything here, but let's look at the second one, which is Mysterious Treasures. And here we're talking about 7,000% released in 2007. Okay, so now we're getting upward of the 16-year mark, right? So this is nearly 2 decades, just shy of 2 decades, and we're talking about 7,000%. And if you go back, you can see this gets, of course, even more exponential when you get back to the older sets, the EX eras and Ruby and Sapphire. It just starts to skyrocket. Again, because there's no more product left. Everybody's opened it. The cards are loose on the market. We've done all the grading. There's just not very many sealed booster boxes anymore. So it doesn't really matter if you're $5 plus or minus the lowest price point. All those things kind of go away when you take time into consideration. And if you're a true investor and you're talking about decades like we talk about here, then those small points of $5 doesn't matter anymore. And is this the best set? Doesn't really even matter anymore either. Over time, it can be one of the worst sets. You can have Fusion Strike and Vivid Voltage stocked up in your bathroom like Rudy, but if you hold that for 10, 15, 20 years, you're sitting on a mountain of money. So it doesn't necessarily matter if it's the best set or not over time. Now, we do have a couple of tips and tricks to look at which is the best sets, but also we look at trends. Trends within the series is going to be what we talk about next, so stay tuned. If you like Pokemon investment videos, check out the ones we have here. Otherwise, if you like more product around Pokemon and product openings, check out these videos here. We thank you so much as always for your time. It's deeply valuable and we appreciate you spending it with us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.